Tonight, Evraz says it wants to sell its North American steel plants, which would include the one in Regina. Also,
something we can't control sometimes.
Supporters of Dawn Walker want the Saskatoon mother extradited from the United States back to Canada. Plus, a Saskatoon street musician is named a finalist in the Buskers World Cup in South Korea.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, August 10th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. A major shakeup is coming for one of Saskatchewan's major employers. The largely Russian-owned Evraz says it is selling its North American assets. That would include the steel mill in Regina, which employs about 1,200 people. This comes just months after the company's largest shareholder was hit with sanctions. Evraz made the announcement on its website today. The company says it's in the process of soliciting proposals from buyers. In March, the United Kingdom and Canada sanctioned Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich. He owns roughly 28% of the company. An international development expert says it's unlikely a Canadian company would be in the market for the Regina plant. He says the uncertainty is tough on workers.
It's hard to find good news in that if you are, working for Evraz and your job is on the line here. I think the biggest vote of confidence that anyone is looking for would be some sort of job security to make sure that, people are not going to be turfed out as a result of these sales and the politics behind them.
Hewish says the federal and provincial governments will need to assist in a smooth transition to protect workers. The Saskatchewan government issued a statement that says it is committed to working with potential buyers and expects that any sale would have, quote, minimal impact on operations or employees. At this moment, 200 displaced Ukrainians are on board a humanitarian flight headed for Saskatchewan, and they'll arrive in Regina late tonight. Like last time, incoming passengers will be given temporary accommodations in Regina. The Ukrainian-Canadian Congress is working with local organizations to provide services to newcomers. They'll set up a settlement reception center to act as a one-stop shop for Ukrainians who need help.
New Ukrainians will have an opportunity to work with Service Canada and apply for their social insurance number. Our Saskatchewan Health Authority will be there to register them for their health cards. They'll be able to, those who have driver's licenses will be able to meet up with SGI and get those recommendations for driver's licenses, for a Saskatchewan driver's license.
Kruger says newcomers from Ukraine have been feeling a mix of relief and anxiety. With the arrival of today's flights, the government says more than 1,500 displaced Ukrainians will be in Saskatchewan. 2 children from Saskatchewan at the center of an Amber Alert this week are now safe. Police in the United States found the 7- and 8-year-old and 2 adults just before midnight last night. RCMP were concerned about the safety of the children in the presence of convicted sex offender Benjamin Martin Moore. A sheriff in South Dakota told CBC News that his officers found Moore with the children and their mother in a campground east of Sturgis. Moore and the mother were arrested. The children were taken into the care of social services. Supporters of Dawn Walker want her extradited to Canada. The Saskatoon woman is behind bars in Oregon, accused of faking her death, abducting her son, and crossing the border with a stolen identity. Yasmin Correa spoke to a legal expert on what the extradition process could look like.
A rally to stand with Dawn Walker and to call for her return home.
We're advocating for Dawn to be extradited quicker so she can be home in our homeland. That's our main purpose.
Walker is currently in an Oregon jail, accused of faking her death and that of her son, then fleeing to the U.S. using a stolen identity. She faces charges in the States for illegally crossing the border and abduction and mischief charges here at home. In a statement to CBC Tuesday, she said, "I left Saskatoon because I feared for my safety and that of my son."
We want you safe and home here on your own treaty lands to tell your story.
But bringing Walker back to Canada isn't a simple or easy matter. The Canadian Department of Justice first has to make a formal extradition request. They haven't gotten back to us on whether they've done that yet. Then it's ultimately up to U.S. officials to make the final decision on whether Walker is extradited. If extradition is given the go-ahead, an extradition expert says the process could play out in one of two ways.
A number of things could happen. She could be extradited back here to be tried on the Canadian offenses, and then re-extradited back to the U.S. to be tried on the American offenses. And then if she's convicted in either country, she can be, sent to serve her sentence in one country and then sent to serve her sentence in the other country.
But because Walker is facing more serious charges in Canada, Professor Curry says it's possible American authorities could drop the charges on their side and go ahead with extradition. If that happened, Canadian authorities could possibly add identity theft to their list of charges since the alleged offense occurred here. Walker is expected back in court in the U.S. next month. Yasmin Ghanaya, CBC News, Saskatoon.
A 55-year-old man who was stabbed inside a Saskatoon hospital in early June has died. Randy Beauchesne suffered brain damage in the horrific attack. At the time, police said it was likely a case of mistaken identity. Beauchesne was standing in the cafeteria at Royal University Hospital on the night of June 13th. A man came up behind him and drove a screwdriver through his skull. Police arrested 39-year-old Kevin Wichakan, and he was arrested and charged with attempted murder. Today, Saskatoon police said they are waiting for an autopsy report before deciding if charges will be upgraded. The snowbirds out of 15-wing Moose Jaw have once again been grounded. The Royal Canadian Air Force has ordered what it calls an operational pause for the snowbirds aerobatic team. The aircraft used by the team was involved in an emergency landing last week in Fort St. John, British Columbia. The snowbirds have used the same aircraft since the display team was formed in the early 1970s. The Canadian-designed and built Tudor jet was once the backbone of the Air Force's training fleet. Now, there are just 20 constantly maintained at their base in Moose Jaw. The head of flight safety for the Air Force said in a release that jets won't fly until the cause of last week's accident is found. The snowbirds were scheduled to fly at events across Canada and in California until the middle of October. A Saskatoon conservation group has recruited dozens of volunteers to plant a whole lot of trees this month. This morning, it was given a rather barren part of the city some new life. Teresa Kleem has the story.
I think it's deep enough.
Saskatoon berries, spruce trees, and trampling aspen. These are just some of the 600 native plants that were put into the ground this morning in the city's north end. Around 30 volunteers and staff of the Meewasin Valley Authority were digging in the soil.
You want as much variety as possible, best habitat, different heights, so you've got lots of different options for the animals and the birds.
The more diverse the group of trees, the healthier the environment. But the planting experience is about more than just lending a hand or a green thumb to Mother Nature.
And I think if people come out and try it, they realize that just to put the shovel in the ground, dig some dirt and plant a tree, something that you know is going to live for, 50 years, 100 years maybe, it's a good feeling.
Each year, Meewasin undertakes significant land restoration projects throughout the South Saskatchewan River Valley. This month, it's planting more than 1,000 trees at different locations. The goal is to plant legacy trees, bolster the prairie ecosystem, and create space for birds and insects. It also teaches lessons to the next generation.
And my dad said I can't dig a hole. and then I just do this. I proved him wrong.
Quite an achievement for all volunteers, young and old. Teresa Kleem, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Quarterback sacks have been the Riders' strength and weakness this season as they reach the halfway point this weekend. The Riders' defense is the runaway leader in the CFL sacks department, taking down opposition quarterbacks 28 times in 8 games. But the Riders' offense also leads the league in sacks allowed with 29. Injuries on the offensive line and to quarterback Cody Fajardo have been contributing factors But the coach feels it's more than that.
You look at it, it's not like we're just getting blown out of the water. It's just one guy here, one guy there. So I think we got to play better as a unit. The idea of 5 is 1. And then I think Cody's got to help us by staying in the pocket a little bit. I think a lot of times he's spilling it, and then they're expecting him to be here, and he's over there.
Anytime our quarterback's on the ground, it's not a good thing. I mean, whether it's our fault or not, we don't want to see him on the ground. So it's on us to run over, help pick him up, and make sure it doesn't happen again on the following plays.
Hopefully we can get some continuity with our offense, just as a whole, our offensive line, our receivers, and then we'll start getting better as a team, because when we can have that continuity, I think we can play much better and faster.
The Riders will need to be, or they could find themselves in a difficult position. Right now, they hold down the 4th-placed Eastern crossover position in the West, 4 points up on the Elks. The two teams play in Edmonton this Saturday night. Well, we have crossed the halfway point of the week, and it's been a really warm one. In some cases, maybe too hot out there for our furry friends. But these guys in Regina at the dog park, they were happy to stretch their little furry legs, and it looks like the heat is going to continue. Ethan will explain after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. A quick-thinking 8-year-old whose 911 call stopped a car fire from spreading is getting praise for her action. Now there's an effort to recognize what the Yellowknife youngster did by helping her family with their living arrangements. Rose Danon has more.
Oh my gosh, it's exploding.
Get me that one. Residents of a Yellowknife apartment complex were awoken early Sunday morning by a vehicle fire in the parking lot outside their building. And it was 8-year-old Grace Ellen Bolio who jumped into action.
I just felt scared, so I just snatched my mom's phone and called 911.
And how did you know that calling 911 was the thing to do?
'Cause my mom taught me how, and if there was anything wrong or there was an emergency, I would call that number.
The Yellowknife Fire Division arrived on scene shortly after. The fire was quickly controlled and extinguished. One vehicle was completely destroyed, and 2 nearby vehicles received severe heat damage. Nobody was hurt. As neighbors came out to assess the damage, they realized it was Grace Ellen's call that prevented the fire from spreading.
And it just cheered everybody up. We were all wow, Grace, I believe that you are a hero today. And so the captain of the fire department came over and applauded her for that.
The Bolio family struggles with housing insecurity, and Grace Ellen and her mother struggled to sleep in a crowded single bedroom. It is this reason she spotted the fire early. When the owner of one of the burnt vehicles found this out, she decided to do something about it to return the good deed. Donna Lynn Baskin has started a GoFundMe page to help raise money for the Bolio family. And she has also reached out to the Yellowknife mayor and the local MLA in search of help for them.
This young family who saved my home and made it possible for me to sleep can't sleep themselves and don't know where their next meal is coming from. I can't live with that. Sorry, it's my civic duty to do for them what they've done for me.
Baskin says Grace Ellen's actions follow a pattern of good deeds to her neighbors, despite facing her own struggles. And she hopes their story sparks action to address rising homelessness in Yellowknife. Rose Danon, CBC News, Yellowknife.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
And weather specialist Ethan Williams joins me now. People have a good reason to look up the next couple days.
Yeah, that is right, Sam. We have some exciting things in our skies. For all you stargazers out there, it's time again for the Perseid meteor shower. The best time to see them is supposed to be a little bit later this week, but this year you may not have the best viewing conditions. We don't expect views of the Perseids like this because of the full moon when the meteor shower is at its peak, and that's on August 12th and 13th. Now, this event does happen every year from mid-July to the end of August, and if you're still looking for some activity in the sky, don't worry, there will still be more to see. There's lots happening in this next little while, but the the Perseids basically just debris left over from a comet called Swift-Tuttle, which broke apart around 1992. About 100 meteors per hour on average that you can see with that shower. And typically, the meteoroids are just the size of a grain of sand, so they're not really all that big at all, but create some really nice views. But as we mentioned, the supermoon, the last supermoon of the year, likely going to play a bit of a problem with that. Now, it's known as the Sturgeon Moon because this is thought to be the time of year when sturgeon are most easily caught in the Great Lakes. And you might have a little trouble seeing it over the next couple of days as it hits its peak, because we do now have some cloud cover and showers building in south and central Saskatchewan. The north, no problems for you because you'll see clear conditions, but some showers starting to dissipate now as they head in toward Regina. And you can see that watch warning area for the heat warning still in place at this time. We are looking at a hot next couple of days in southwestern Saskatchewan as temperatures will remain in the 30-degree range, and that jet stream or that upper atmosphere and jet stream going to be reinforcing that. Really, we don't see that slowing down anytime soon. In fact, into next week, it appears that it will stay that way as well. Now, that heat is going to mix with a little bit of instability, and we could see some severe thunderstorm activity, specifically in the west central and northwestern portions of the province as we head through the day tomorrow and into the afternoon. Some very strong wind gusts possible and maybe some dime to ping pong ball sized hail, but really just scattered storms at this point, a general non-severe risk for other portions of the province as well. Now that system begins to move out as, or that high pressure system rather begins to move out. We will see some showers develop tomorrow morning along the southern portion of the province. Those storms build in the afternoon and through the far north as well. And then just light showers as we go through the overnight hours into Friday, and a mainly clear day, I think, for most of us Friday as we head through the day. Now, wind gusts going to be picking up a little bit tomorrow, gusting close to 40 in the southern part of the province. And then as we head through the afternoon on Friday, wind gusts will actually diminish a bit. And it looks like as we head through the weekend, those shouldn't be too bad either. Next 7 days in Regina, again, chance of showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. I think those will be on the non-severe side as we get around 26 degrees. We heat up heading into the weekend, some clearing conditions as well. Just a slight chance of showers Saturday and Sunday, and then we return to closer to normal values heading into the beginning of next week. Saskatoon, you're just on the cusp of that severe risk tomorrow. Highs close to 30 degrees. Again, just a chance of showers and thunderstorms there. Then a nice weekend ahead for you as well. Temperatures will get a little bit closer to normal as we head back into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And overall, Sam, really not that bad of a next few days as we head through August. I think we could be worse. I think this is not bad. A little bit of rain here and there as harvest gets underway, but still not terrible.
We could be worse is a really low bar.
I mean, this time of year, you got to set it somewhere.
Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
Maybe a little bit of nerves early from Moose Jaw.
Ball on the ground. This one is taken at second, and they try for the double play, and they get it.
The final day of round-robin play in Little League Championship Baseball at Stanley Park in Calgary this afternoon. Team Prairies from Moose Jaw are guaranteed a spot in the semifinals tomorrow after winning 4 in a row this week. Today they hit the field against Team Quebec and won 8-7, preserving a 5-1 record for the tournament. You can watch semifinal action tomorrow online at cbcsports.ca. We will be back after the break. Former U.S. President Donald Trump did not answer any questions today during a sworn deposition in Manhattan. He was being questioned by New York State prosecutors about his real estate business.
Mr. President, what's your message to your supporters, Mr. President?
Trump was tight-lipped as he left Trump Tower on his way to the prosecutor's office. Once he was sworn in, Trump invoked his Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination. The former president and his company, the Trump Organization, have been the subjects of a long-running state investigation. It's alleged Trump and his firm misstated the value of prime assets like golf courses and skyscrapers, misleading lenders and tax authorities. The deposition comes just 2 days after an FBI raid on his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, part of a separate investigation into missing White House documents. And Ethan is back with one last look at tonight's weather.
And after partly cloudy conditions tonight, Sam, it looks like we're going to be at mostly cloudy skies as we get to tomorrow morning. Those wind gusts picking up out of the south around 33 kilometers an hour. Noon hour, those gusts stay about where they were, and the cloud cover sticks around too, will be around 23 degrees or so. Saskatoon, you are cloudy as well, 20 degrees at 8 a.m. Southeast winds just under 30 kilometers an hour. And by the time we get to the noon hour, 25 cloudy. And again, both Regina and Saskatoon do have a chance of showers and thunderstorms as we go through the afternoon. Now, if you're headed to Kenora, or if you're in Kenora tomorrow, there's a wonderful downtown market that's happening. It runs from 10 until 2, but let's say you're there for the noon hour for lunch. Not too bad, some cloudy conditions, but some sunny breaks, highs around 23, and not too bad wind-wise either, Sam.
Perfect for lunch on a patio.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
And before we leave you, a Saskatoon busker who goes by the name Shoeboy has been a musical mainstay in the city's downtown for years. Now, he's been named a finalist in the Buskers World Cup, which takes place in South Korea in October. Our Heather Morrison caught up with him.
How did you feel when you found out you were going to South Korea for a busking competition?
I couldn't believe it at first. I was reading the notification, and I kept looking for the part where it said, now you just have to do this, and then we'll probably send you a ticket if you pass through. And no, I read it about 4 times, and it took me a couple days to actually for it to sink in. But yeah, I'm excited, yeah.
So tell us, how did this happen?
Well, I got a couple of emails and from people, and they said you should enter this contest, and it was a busking contest. And first, there's 2 parts to the contest. One is in Korea, Gwangju, and the other was an online contest. And they would take 16 people from around the world, and they would pay for their plane tickets there and back, which is a fair amount of money. It's a really nice thing. And so I thought, oh, what the heck, right?
Can you set the stage here a little bit for us? We're meeting on the corner of 21st and Spadina, which I understand is a bit of a usual haunt for you. Tell us a little bit about your setup.
Well, about 15 years ago, I was a single dad, and about 15 years ago, I said to my wife, I said, I'm going to go downtown and I'm going to play for a change. And she looked at me, and this is why I love her. She looked down and she looked up again. She says, okay, as long as you treat it like a job. So I said, okay. So I treat it like a job, and that was 15 years ago.
So you go by the stage name Shoeboy.
Yes, that's correct.
Where did that come from?
So I have about 20 pairs of shoes, and some of them are pretty cool. I got a pair I just got on Father's Day. They look like jewelry. They're really cool. So that's how I got the name Shoeboy.
Can you describe the pair that you're wearing right now?
Yeah, the pair I'm wearing right now is all covered with license plates, and they're really striking, and I get actually a lot of compliments on them.
What do you think it is about busking, that you enjoy more than you would if you were just a typical stage performer playing in venues?
It's building a sense of community, and it's actually interacting with the people on a personal level. Like when you're on stage, people don't come up and you don't have a conversation, but people come up and they tell me all kinds of things. People respond, you can see they like it, and then so you play a little better, and there's this energy that goes back and forth that you don't get unless you're playing live. Thank you.
Can't wait to see how he does in October. That is all we have for you tonight. You can find more on our website or on the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. Glenn and Ethan are back with more tonight at 11. Thanks for watching, and have a great night.